Okay, so we're going to do part two of my kind of Elimination Chamber preview slash Elimination Chamber 2012 review. Like I said in the last video, I'd never seen Elimination Chamber 2012 before, so this is brand new for me. And I broke down in the first video, it took me about 20 minutes because I'm just long-winded as all get out. I broke down the first match from Elimination Chamber 2012. It was the Elimination Chamber match with CM Punk and all those dudes for the WWE title, and it was a dope match. I'm not even really going to bother with the Divas Championship match. It wasn't bad. It just I didn't really care. I don't know. Women's wrestling has come a long way to the point where, to me, it's almost like it's a lot of the time it's better than the men right now. And so I don't have a problem with women's wrestling at all. It's just at that particular time, I don't think it's at its best. And it was annoying. I tried to watch it for a few minutes and it just got kind of annoying. It just didn't seem to be even like respected by the commentators the way that it currently is. So if anything, watching a little bit of it made me happy that things are the way they are currently with that, right? So, okay, the next match I am going to talk about is the next Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship. And this match included Wade Barrett, Big Show, Santino Marello, Daniel Bryan, Cody Rhodes, and somebody I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, the really, really, really big dude, the Great Khali. So the match opens with the Big Show and Wade Barrett. There's a lot of really big dudes in this match, and then there's Santino Marello and Daniel Bryan, these two little guys. That's interesting. I'm sure we'll get back to that. Anyway, the Big Show is in the match with Wade Barrett to start off. They're the first two in the ring, and it's not going well for Wade Barrett. Let's just say the Big Show is being completely dominant, which is funny because like he makes Wade Barrett look like a little guy, or certainly not a little guy, but like an average-sized wrestler. That's how Big Show makes Wade Barrett look, which is crazy to think because Wade Barrett, I looked it up, 6'7" and like 250 some pounds or something like that. This is not a small man by any stretch of the imagination. And Big Show makes him look tiny. Tiny. So anyway, he's tossing him around like a rag doll. It's getting pretty ugly. The first 5 minutes of the match, nothing really of note happens other than, Wade Barrett's really getting thrown around. He gets maybe a couple little nicks in on show, but not really. The next man into the match, one of my personal favorites and a guy who I've been going through and watching a lot of his old matches because he's been in the news a lot lately. That's Cody Rhodes. Cody comes in, and Show is just taking it to him the same way he'd been taking it to Wade Barrett. I believe at this point in time, Wade Barrett had pretty much rolled out of the ring off onto the chamber floor. He was not a part of proceedings very much at this point in time. So Show had the opportunity to just take it to Cody. But then there comes a point in time in the ring where Cody's getting a little slippery with Big Show, and him and Wade Barrett hit Big Show high-low. The one hits him high, the other hits him low, kind of bouncing between the ropes, and they take him out. They hit him with the high-low, and they flatline him completely. And so for the first time, it looks like there's a chink in the Big Show armor, and I mean, it just. I mean, at this point, we've probably been in the match close to 10 minutes at this point. And this is, I think, the first time Big Show's really been on the mat. So immediately after that, though, immediately after working together to knock over Big Show, Wade Barrett puts Rhodes over the ropes and onto the steel. So eventually, right before the fourth guy in, who was Santino. It was Santino Morello was the fourth guy in. So he takes a he really tries to take it to Big Show. I mean, it's admirable, I guess. I mean, I know he was the fan favorite to win this match. I don't remember a whole lot about this particular like time period other than he had been kind of hot in like nobody expected it kind of way. He was really popular over on SmackDown. Yeah. And so when he comes in, there's a big pop, and people are really, really excited to see him in. He takes it right to the Big Show, and the show just takes it right to him. Like he had aspirations for a second, and Show shut him right down. But Cody hits another shot block on the show. He's woken up from his being sent over the ropes. So he hits another chop block on the show, and but the show just clears the whole ring again. So it's everybody on the outside, everybody incapacitated, everybody's hurt, and Big Show is standing there as the conquering hero. And I'm beginning to think that maybe Big Show is gonna win. He's taunting Daniel Bryan the whole time. I do know that they were in kind of a program going into this. Big Show, I mean, they were all in a program with Daniel Bryan. He was the reigning World Heavyweight Champion. But Big Show and Daniel Bryan specifically had a thing going for a little bit, a bit of a rivalry. And Big Show kept taunting Daniel Bryan in the Elimination Chamber, in his chamber pod. Eventually, there's a point, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to mention it yet. But so, like, Barrett and Rhodes, eventually, they after Show clears the ring again, Barrett and Rhodes, they team up again, and they manage to double outside of the ring, double suplex Big Show onto the steel. But they can't. The thing is, and they're talking. The announcers are talking. I think it was JBL and Booker T. And anyway, they're talking about how that was what they needed. That double suplex was really well executed, really powerful move. It should be all they need to pin Big Show. But the catch is they can't pull Big Show into the ring. Big Show is so big. His show is so large, so big, it can't be pulled back into the ring. So, Cody hits just a sick moonsault. Like, Santino has. It's the one thing I have noticed at this point in the match. Santino has maybe at this point in time the worst haircut I've ever seen. It's worse than mine. Like I get a lot of. I like my hair, but I get a lot of I see a lot of grief on the internet for dudes with their haircut kind of like this, and I see it in my real life. And this dude's was bad. I don't know how he ever got away with thinking that was a good idea at all. Anyway, back to the match. Khali comes in, and he's in for about 30 seconds before he's pinned. He looks like he's about to fall over the whole time. His head doesn't really move right. Eventually, Show spears him, gets a 3 count, eliminated. And then Show climbs out. Everybody else is still taken out at this point, okay? And Show climbs to the top of Daniel Bryan's, because Khali, when he came in, he took everybody out. They all ran at him, and he push him away. Ugh. Ugh. You know what I mean. Okay, so that's what he was doing, and in doing that, he took out everybody. Okay, so when the show speared him and got the 3 count for the pin to take out Khali, there was nobody standing in the ring for him to like engage with. So what's he do rather than grab one of them in and pin them real quick or something while they've been incapacitated by a Frankenstein push? He climbs over to Daniel Bryan's chamber pod and starts ripping the chain links out of the top of it and reaching in like some kind of movie monster dude, and reaching at Daniel Bryan. Eventually, he climbs right on top of the thing, right through the chains that he's busted up, okay, and into the chamber pot with Daniel Bryan. And they are literally, as the old boxing adages goes, they are literally fighting in a phone booth, okay? And it is not good for Daniel Bryan. And he is like just trying to last and survive these couple of seconds. I think it was the whole thing like maybe lasted 25 seconds, but felt like forever before it was the time for Bryan's chamber pod to open. You can tell the referees are trying to get it open as quickly as they possibly can because he's trapped in that room with a, 500-pound monster who, unlike the great Khali, can actually move a little bit and is actually like significantly a dangerous human being for Daniel Bryan to be trapped in there with. Eventually, I mean, this is a great spot, okay? But eventually, Show throws Bryan right through the chamber door. And Santino nearly gets a pin on Wade Barrett. I can't remember exactly how the sequence. There's just a lot going on in the ring at this point in time. But that is a significant spot, is that Santino, after getting tossed around like a rag doll and having a bad haircut, is the only thing I really had to say about him the whole time he's been in the ring at this point. He comes out and he nearly pins Wade Barrett. So Cody then hits the show with 2 consecutive disaster kicks and a DDT. Wade Barrett drops an elbow, and then Cody hits the pin. And then so Big Show is eliminated from this match. Then immediately after that, Santino rolls up Cody. So now we're down to Daniel Bryan and Santino Morello. And Wade Barrett. Like that. I totally expected Big Show and Daniel Bryan to be the guys, the last 2 at the end of this. Like when I was watching it, that's what I expected. Like I said, I hadn't seen this before. This is so long ago now. 7 years is just long enough ago that without reading up on it, I'm not going to know what happened in any of this stuff, really. So this was a complete surprise. I couldn't believe the sequence of events. I really started to maybe when Show got eliminated, I started to think, okay, maybe this is like going to be a good time for Cody, who's like, again, I'm a big fan of. So I don't remember him going that far in the Elimination Chamber, but maybe he did because I don't remember much about any of this, right? And so Cody just gets rolled up immediately, and my heart breaks a little bit. But the 3 guys that we're left with, other than Daniel Bryan, of course, who I expected to be there because he came in with the championship belt, I wouldn't have expected any of these guys. So, Cody, though, before he leaves the ring, before I forget, he hits the crossroads on Santino. So Santino is, despite the fact that he, pinned Cody and he's one of the final 3 dudes left, it doesn't look good for him. This looks like it's going to be a Wade Barrett versus Daniel Bryan showdown for the belt, right? So Barrett looks to take advantage, and he covers Santino. And Santino kicks out, and I can't believe it. Nobody can believe it. The whole crowd just goes nuts. They cannot believe Santino's kicked out of this. Barrett hooks Santino's arms in the eventually this is maybe 2 minutes later or something like that, Barrett takes Santino out of the ring and hooks his arms like this in the chain, the chamber, enclosure. I keep wanting to say cage, but it's not really a cage. It's a little bit different. I mean, you've all seen Elimination Chamber. You know what I'm talking about. So he hooks his arms up in it like this and sends some combos at him and stuff like that, and some kicks and some punches. And it looks like this dude is done and just waiting to get covered, right? Barrett then versus Bryan. Barrett comes into the ring. He leaves Santino hung up in the chains, and he comes into the ring, and Santino, or not Santino, Wade Barrett versus Daniel Bryan is an absolute ground wrestling, back and forth. It gets really exciting for this is that you hadn't seen a lot of this. The Elimination Chamber had been very brutal so far, and this was a little bit more slick wrestling kind of stuff. Transitions. This transitions into some rope walking eventually, and Barrett clotheslines Daniel Bryan, who was not just up on the top turnbuckle, but literally on the top rope, and Wade Barrett clotheslines Bryan off the ropes, and then he power bombs him into the chamber fence. That's what I should call it, fence. I think that's basically what it is. So he power bombs him into the chamber fence. Smashes Daniel Bryan's head in the door. This is the second time we've seen this tonight. Just smashing Daniel Bryan's head in the door. And this looks even more brutal than Punk's, because when it was happening to Punk, you could tell that it was kind of hitting him in the chest. But Daniel, because that's like the angle the door was coming in, he had his chest stuck out, and it was hitting him in the chest. But Daniel Bryan had his head kind of sideways, and the door's coming in like this. It looked brutal, right? It's really beginning to look like we're going to have a new champion. But I know better, but that's what it looks like, right? And then so Bryan gets a flying knee on Wade onto the steel floor, and Barrett recovers and puts Daniel Bryan through the damn plexiglass. Daniel Bryan's chamber pod is completely destroyed at this point. It's a good thing that this match was, I know it's all fake and they planned this out, but it's a good thing this match was second and not first, because they didn't need a new chamber pod, right? Because this thing is destroyed. He goes to try to hit the wasteland. The pin gets broken up by Santino. Santino is looking for a superplex. He's thrown by Barrett. Barrett looks elbow drop. He looks for an elbow drop on Santino. He misses. Daniel Bryan comes in with a flying headbutt. Santino covers. Wade has been eliminated. He's been in the match for 30 minutes at this point. But this was a really long showing by him. One of his better matches, honestly, at a pay-per-view that I can think of, right off the top of my head that I've seen. This is a really good match. Kind of, in retrospect, makes me wish he was still around a little bit, because this is, I don't know, he had a Scott Hall, Razor Ramon looking physique about him, kind of. He was a tough looking dude and looked good out there doing it. He'd be fun to still be seeing. I know he's got a position in the front office or as a general manager of some type with some promotion somewhere, and he's in movies and stuff sometimes. He's not hurting for anything, but it'd be interesting to see him still going, Anyway, it's Daniel Bryan versus Santino Marella for the World Heavyweight Championship. The two smallest guys in the fight. Here we are. It's a pretty good little spot here. The way it starts out, Bryan is just ragdolling Santino, just starching him. And Santino is showing a lot of heart, keeps coming forward. There's a spot where he's kind of crawling on his knees, not hands and knees, just kind of knee to knee, forward and just getting kicked and getting hit in the face, and he just keeps coming forward. And the crowd is chanting for him and chanting for him and chanting for him, and they're so behind him. They're so behind him, and it's kind of weird to hear them kind of like so against Daniel Bryan the way that they were. I'm so used to him being such a crowd pleaser, such a face, such a not just a face, because they push people's faces all the time that we, I think we cheer for, but they aren't really our favorite. Like Daniel Bryan, people really, really liked. So it's always weird in situations where you hear him kind of getting booed or whatever. But excuse me. Santino's showing a lot of heart. He's got the whole crowd behind him. Bryan covers. Santino kicks out. Santino covers. Bryan kicks out. Santino counters a flying headbutt. He unleashes the Cobra. Cobra strikes, right? And it really looks like we're going to have a new champion. But Bryan kicks out after like 2.5. Santino fights really hard once he gets into what we now call the yes lock. But it was over. He taps. Daniel Bryan retains. He's doing this yes. Not yes, 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 but yes. Yes. So it was the beginning of the yes chants, and or at least for what they are now, or well, I guess they aren't anymore, but what they are these days. And then Sheamus comes in and just brutalizes Daniel Bryan, just starches him. So I almost want to go and watch WrestleMania 2012 now. Like, this really set it up really well. I'm going to talk a little bit about the John Cena versus Kane ambulance match in another video because I'm up just past 20 minutes right now. I'm going to try and keep these in that ballpark to keep them a little bit more digestible. I don't want to be doing, 40-minute long videos or anything like that. Or God forbid some of I still want to have friends on and talk, but I want to break those up into like half-hour segments around certain topics to just make them a little bit more digestible. But anyway, so yeah, this match was really good. 4 stars. Not quite as good for me as the WWE Championship match, which I reviewed in the last video. But still very good and makes me really pumped for Elimination Chamber this year, which I will also be talking about in more depth when I talk about the Kane versus Cena ambulance match. All right, cool. I'll see you soon.